Hello there. Good morning. I've never done this live thing here on YouTube, but yeah, I had to set things up and they made me wait 24 hours. I would have done it over the weekend, but here we are on a Monday morning. I don't know who's gonna watch this. So here is a little update of where I'm going, because there was a video that I posted here on YouTube, and for some reason, not sure that maybe it was the subject and whatnot. I did put a lot of work into the editing, so I guess a lot of people joined that was interested in it. But yeah, and I've been taking a lot of footage too of the whole journey with so far, from New York here to Chesapeake City. Um, but I haven't edited. I haven't edited much of anything at all. So let me just show you my boat for now. It's some sort of um, and I guess if you're there and you have any actual questions, I'll try to find out where to see the comments here. But this is a Ranger 28 from 1975. Ooh, yeah, so I only have a few minutes. I wanted to test this out because the tide is changing. It's about 8:30 now. I gotta leave. We'll start getting everything. I'm pretty much all ready, but for a 9:15 takeoff. I'm so happy I don't have to pull up the anchor today. Oh my God, it's been for the past 5 days, I'd say the wind was perfect to just kept moving. And this is an electric sailboat. So I guess messy is not only the boat is messy inside, but I'm just kind of, rambling about the things here. I'm going to say it is an electric sailboat. And yeah, this baby is heavy. The last time I got a full charge before hooking up at the Chesapeake Town Dock, which is really cool. Check this out. Price is right there. Docking free, water 10, electricity $15. Happily paid for it. Before that was Atlantic City. That I had a full charge, but then I waited for the wind, got to Cape May, dropped the hook, and then the day right after, wind was good to keep moving too, but I haven't had a full charge ever since. So I'm going on small hops, just going with the wind. And okay, let's see my boat. Go the way here. So heavily modified, right? This is completely an add-on. I had some help cutting just like a U shape and bringing that up. The dinghy being on top here. My cat loves it under there. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I put this, I installed this thing all by myself. My own imagination also. Just grabbed them. Well, I'll make a video about that too. I have the process. Grabbed these two pieces of like bimini top from a consignment shop, and all the other stuff kind of added on. This is a solar cooker, a GoSun that I installed here. I'm happy to see that their newer versions have like a rubber thingy on the side. Or maybe it did have, I don't know, because I've cut myself plenty on it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's messy, But yeah, it's an electric motor. I'm not gonna show you the electric motor right now because it's in there. Well, okay, you can take a peek and I don't see much. That's it. Electric yachts. It's good to not have to look much at it, Yeah, yesterday here at Chesapeake Inn was pretty wild. And let's see, I just cleaned up the kitchen. I have a little fridge in there that does either freezer or fridge, and I just keep it as fridge. Since everything is electric, I have an really good alcohol stove that came with it, but I only used once to test it out. I got a tiny one burner that spends less than 500 watts. I guess if you go like all the way up, it's a little bit over 500, but it's okay because I got an inverter that's for 1200 watts. This here also, the toaster oven, I don't use it that much. I use this and definitely the blender. The blender I use every morning. I make smoothie. Just went through my last banana. Yeah, and I got a Starlink, which was, that's the antenna right there, and this is the router. I know there are people who are really smart out there, and then they got their instructions on how to make it DC to DC only. Also, stop the motor for the antenna to pick up reception. So I gotta do that too at some point. Let's see. Yeah, so we did Atlantic City to Cape May in one day. Then the next day, Cape May to Cohansey River. It was up the Delaware Bay. The wind started just getting a little too crazy, and the waves, and thankfully I had a spot there to picked out, and we stopped there. But then getting out of Cohansey River a few days ago, it was like, oh, I tacked 17 times just getting out of the river. It was pretty intense because the wind was coming from the west. But once I got to the Delaware Bay, then, you know, we went all the way up at a beam reach and was flying at times. You got to really time your tides right around the Delaware Bay to go up there, because it can be amazing or it can be I guess terrifying. I don't know. I got to a little bit where I think that the tide was starting to shift back and the wind going against it. Yeah, it got pretty hairy. I'm like, am I still in the ocean? Yeah, and then Cohansey River to just the mouth of C&D the day before yesterday, and then yesterday I did the C&D Canal and got here to Chesapeake City. There are not many facilities on the like up until you get to here, like from Cape May off to Delaware. I don't know if there really is anything else. I couldn't find. I even thought of getting a full charge for the electric motor over there, Cohansey River, and I called a couple marinas up the river, but nobody got back to me. Okay, I don't think they're really looking for friends here. But today, so yeah, I guess the update here is that I got a job at the boat show in Annapolis, putting together the show and then breaking it down after the show is over. So yeah, I gotta get there. I could have started today, but the lady was like, you know, you take your time, be safe out there, and she didn't know if I was gonna make it over the weekend. So that's another reason why I'm like, oh, taking my time, just doing daily hops, you know, up to 8 hours of traveling. That's enough. Okay, why? If I had an autopilot working, I probably would have done longer stretches, but you know, since this is an electric motor, I have been very mindful of not using the motor much. You know, it's not like unlimited. Here, let me pick 3 days of zero wind and just motor through the ocean or something like that. That's not how you go about boats like this. So I've been sailing, and the autopilot broke back in Port Washington, New York. So I've been sailing and hand steering all the way to here. And yeah, feeling pretty accomplished and tired. So I'm looking forward to stopping in Annapolis for a couple months. And I don't know what time it is, but I think that's pretty much all the time that we had. Wow, it's funny. Let's see if I can catch that. So there's a boat there, big motor and all. when you're trying to get up here against the tide, it can be really, really funky. And I feel like they're going sideways, trying to go straight. Let's see if we can get them. See, you can zoom in the live. That's nice. I think on Facebook you can't, or can. I don't know. But yeah, okay, I can zoom, but it's not gonna really. Sorry, it didn't do a focus. Yeah. So I'm a cat with me, Marbles. He does the night watch. This is the third time that we are, actually, second time we're tied up for the night in 3 months since I left Patchogue. I didn't like leave Patchogue and just try to make my way here. Don't worry. It's been, yeah, I had to go back to the house that I used to live in and get rid of a bunch of stuff and just like really say goodbye to land living. Yes, I had kind of like, I went from Fire Island Inlet all the way to Sandy Hook, and I had to go back. And yeah, when I kind of went back around, but went through Hell's Gate up to Port Washington and Northport on Long Island, have pretty good resources, you know, for cruisers. I'd definitely say that's a good spot to go by on Long Island. Definitely don't go like to the South Shore and try to get in Fire Island Inlet, because that's a mess. I heard of somebody just recently who totaled a boat over there. If I didn't have local knowledge coming out of there, I probably would have gotten stuck. And it's not fun to get stuck, to get to run aground in the ocean. Holy smokes. So yeah, back in 2020, me and my ex went from New York, from Mauritius to the Bahamas. We made it on his boat, Tartan 10, so around, you know, around 30 feet. This is 28, but you know, I added a bunch of stuff. I added the swim platform, bowsprit, all sorts of things. And yeah, going on that trip, you know, we hit a ground ICW, but we did maybe half out, half in ICW. And one time we were following a couple friends, because they had we had just made the friends the night before, but they were also leaving, and they had a much nicer boat. And we're like, oh, they must know what they're doing. And they cut a buoy getting out of Charleston, and we follow them. So we all ran aground there. It was hairy. It's scary. Like the boat just like and starts just going sideways with the swell and up, but thankfully that was okay. It's like a completely different experience running aground, you know, in some protected areas. You just go thump on a sailboat, hopefully. Don't go too fast. And if it's a motorboat, then people go flying, and that's, I guess, where a lot of injuries and whatnot happen. But sailboats, you know, it is thankfully pretty uneventful, and you just like the front of the boat just kind of just go down, depending on how fast you are, or sometimes you just bump. But on the ocean, pretty wild. Yeah, what was I talking about? Running aground in the ocean. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so no autopilot for this whole time. I need to get a gazillion spare parts for this thing, because I love it. It's an Auto Helm 800, and as I found out, Ray Marine bought Auto Helm back in the 80s. Then they just, you know, slapped a different model number on the same products and called it their own. And I don't know if recently they or somebody, I don't want to assume, but scrubbed the internet for any, you know, schematics of parts, so I could get these parts from somewhere else. Anyway, I think I was already in Atlantic City when I realized exactly what I needed, because they wouldn't just tell me, you know, first thing I'd call a manufacturer. And they sent me to a vendor who just wanted to sell me a refurbished unit. I'm like, dude, I just want a belt. And it turns out I don't think it's the belt, because the teeth on a belt inside it's a auto tiller, you know, just put it to the tiller is very tiny. The teeth are very tiny, so I couldn't, like with my glasses. But I think the gear inside of it, the teeth are kind of broken. So I think one thing that Raymarine did different was get those pieces of gear that used to be plastic, now they're metal. So I think it's like $70 for the kit, but it was going to take a couple of weeks to get there. And I'm like, no, that's when I start the job in Annapolis, so I guess I'm just going to tough it out. And yeah, at the end of, I don't know if today I'm going to make the 50-something miles to Annapolis, or maybe I'll just anchor right out there, because it's a pretty decent wind today, east wind, to get me out of here, the wind behind my back. And then once I get down to the Chesapeake, it'll be at a beam reach all the way. So that should be fun. That should be fun today. It'll be fun to arrive at least, in close by, because I think the wind dies tomorrow. So I'm going to see as far west I can get, so I can get to the other side of the bay and as far down and all. I don't know about going into a place I completely don't know at night, but I guess I'll start getting used to doing that kind of stuff. I've just been doing day trips because, there's no autopilot. Oh yeah, so coming out of Brooklyn, yes, I was Port Washington, then hand steered it to Brooklyn. I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, maybe it'd be better to bring someone along to help me steer the boat, so then we don't have to deal with the sketchy inlets through the Jersey Shore. Just get out of New York Harbor and make one dash to Cape May. Well, it was not excellent planning on my part, because I guess a captain should know that every new person that's not really a boater is going to start just know how to steer and first of all not get seasick, which my poor friend did. She's going through a rough time. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great, let's do it. Poor thing. We were both feeding the fish at one point there, and it was my first ever time getting seasick. It was pretty gnarly at one point. So in Brooklyn, found this weird spot that you have to go through Pulaski Bridge, so I requested the opening, and there are some pretty underground floating there's a comment, let me grab my glasses. Oh, Sydney, Australia. Okay, sorry, the comment went away. I'm still not used to doing this. Hello from Australia. Hello, someone from Australia. I'm not in Australia. I'm in yeah, I just did 3 states in 4 days. I was in Jersey, then Delaware, now I'm in Maryland. So yeah, I grabbed my poor friend, and try to teach her some of it. I thought she was gonna be a little bit more hands-on and trying to be a part of it, but no. And then it turns out, and then you kind of taking care of somebody else. But I think she tried her best to be a trooper. And at one point there, I was 22 hours hand steering, and I'm like, all right, I am done. So I hove to out there. It was kind of maybe 4 miles offshore, 4 miles east of Bernagat Channel. Oh yeah, today I'm gonna keep moving because there's the east wind behind my back, so I'm gonna keep making my way to Annapolis. Yeah, but out there, so I hove to, and I asked her to hang out there in the cockpit for, I think it was like 4 in the morning. So just make sure we're not hitting anything. I don't know. There were some buoys, they're a little bit close-ish, maybe a mile or 2 away. If it starts getting too close, just wake me up. And I slept 1 hour. What I should have done is just, if she couldn't steer, at least that kind of help she could have done, and I could have stayed there a little bit more and then kept going to Atlantic City. That was another hairy story, then, okay, we're gonna make it to Barnegat, even though some people said, stay away from that inlet. People were saying stay away from pretty much every inlet in a Jersey Shore except for Atlantic City. So I but you know, I was done, and then still waited another couple hours for the tide to change. I asked for some local knowledge there who said, yeah, you could probably do it. But then I got there, the waves are just no way, like too crazy. And the first set of buoys that arrived, I called the Coast Guard, and I'm like, how is it to come in there? No, I was just there 10 minutes ago. Yeah, don't come in. No, don't come in. Sailboat like that? You're no. Go to Atlantic City. So that was another 20 miles or so. Yeah, I should have taken a lot more rest. I could have asked for, I should have asked for, you know, and she was a good trooper. She would have stayed here for another few hours, and it would have been golden. Could have gone to Atlantic City, could have gone to Cape May. I don't know. Except for then, you know, and with the electric motor, it's pretty tricky. It's not just unlimited, like, oh, wind died, no problem. But then the wind did die, and the swells were too much. That's when I started getting sick. She got sick again. And then I'm like, oh, I have Boat US, unlimited premium, la la la, towing. You know, that's AAA on water, I guess. If you don't know, AAA, I don't know if that means anything to anybody else in the world, but it's a towing service on the water. Knowing I have how much experience doing this, and with the electric motor, so many renovations and everything, I definitely wanted to make sure that I'd have the unlimited whatever. So I asked for a tow, and it was the weekend. So now Boat US has, on the app, you get a request with the app. It requests a tow through the app. Maybe there are other ways too, but that's easy enough. Except for they had some options. It was just a drop down menu. What's wrong with your boat? And you know, different things, whatever, ran aground, blah blah blah, or dead battery, or out of fuel. And I'd qualify for both of them. Am I doing this alone or with someone? I am doing this with my little feline friend Marbles, who's hiding right now, or he's up there. Yeah, so it's just me and Marby. But at that point, just from Brooklyn to Atlantic City, I did have this friend of mine. And then the kid came over from Boat US, and he wanted to tow us back to Bernadette Inlet. Like, I'm not going there. I don't belong. Like, and that was, I had already gone 15 miles south of it. Like, you're gonna drag us 10 miles? I forget exactly, but we're very close to Little Egg Harbor Inlet, and that's like, no, like, you don't go with a sailboat inside that. But the kid's like, oh, I'll just take you to Little Egg Harbor. And I don't know, like, if you know about maritime law or things like that, I still need to call Boat US to find out really, like, am I not, like, I have unlimited premium. I know that there's a thing about the person who's towing, they call the shots, that, you know, the captain calls the shots. But how does that play out with me having unlimited, you know, they'll just take me anywhere. I said, I want to go to Atlantic City, not back up. He's like, oh, it's just, yeah, if I take you to Little Egg Harbor, you know, it was 2 miles south to the inlet, and then he brought us 3 miles north because there was nothing over there. And it was pretty hairy inlet. There was absolutely, yeah, it was really, really hard to get out of there. Just going through the inlet, not even like through, just passing by, you know, north of the inlet and south on the inside, it was very hairy. I wasn't even trying to get out. So I go, and, you know, because as you're approaching the inlet, the tide is coming, and it was a lot of shoaling. Thank you. Thank you, Walter. There's a lot of shoaling, Little Egg Harbor Inlet. So I wanted to approach it at high tide, but that's usually not how you do it, to get sucked into the inlet and then pushed the other way. You'd go just before it's, you know, low tide, so you get sucked into the inlet, and then as the tide starts coming in again, you get pushed the other way. But I couldn't do that, so I went like at high tide, and the current was just against us the whole time. I tried, it was pretty windy. I'm like, we can move, you know, we have sails, we can move. We couldn't. It was because the channel is so narrow, and some spots where, you know, I draw 4.5 feet. There's some spots where there's no way I could even go through that when I was getting the tow after that, because I called the tow again. And the guy's like, you don't belong here. You don't belong in this inlet. I'm like, huh. I didn't, yeah, I'm not going to curse here because I don't know if I was going to, but no, yeah, no joke. No joke, Sherlock. Uh, but somebody from your, it was a different franchise, you know, the kid that, oh yeah, so this is an electric motor, so I ran out of battery and ran out of fuel, but it's not any of the two that somebody could just, you know, the tow guy would just come in and say, okay, here, let me give you a jump start, or, oh, here, let me put some fuel, and you're on your way. So I think the kid just came out to the ocean thinking he was just gonna, boop, fix the problem and not need to tow me to Atlantic City. So yeah, that was the thing. But then the guy, then the guy said, yeah, you shouldn't be here. Yep, no, I shouldn't. You just, yeah, can't go to Atlantic City. Then I'm like, well, I'm just gonna call you guys tomorrow because I can't get out of here. So and he told me. And then yeah, and then the dinghy, you know, I was towing the dinghy, and the motor, my trolling motor, Newport vessels, really cool, you know, was in it, and it fell. Um, and I don't know, there's a part of me that kind of wanted to make them responsible, because I don't know, should he be towing me at 10 knots? My boat doesn't go 10 knots. We were like dragging things behind the boat, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. I'll think about that one. Yeah, and then so we got to Atlantic City. Then I, you know, was able to sit there for a few days, get a full charge on the batteries, the motor, and then kept going. And here we are. And I don't know what time it is, but I think we're gonna have to keep going soon. I was just gonna say pick up the anchor, but today I don't have to pick up the anchor for the first time since, I guess, since Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn was pretty intense. There is a place that you can dock for free in Brooklyn, and we missed it by just the other side of the canal. This is really, it's kind of weird there. You go through the Pulaski Bridge, and there's some, like, you know, liveaboards there. That's like, wow, interesting. I guess they're not supposed to be here, but then you make a ride into this place. It's the sanitation place. The smell was pretty funky at some points, but you know, it was good. You know, I stayed for my birthday there, a night or two. Yeah, stay a couple nights, and even used the electricity. I attempted to grab some water, but the water was like really yellowish coming out of there. And then on Monday morning, some guy started yelling at me to get out of there. And then we realized it should have been across the street, across the canal. So now we know. But this is the first time that this boat, so that was the first time I was tied up for the night. I thought where, you know, I belong. This is the first time we're tied up for the night in 3 months since we left, in a place that's pretty legit, that we actually belong here. Yeah, so all right, I'm gonna, yeah, thank you for watching. I was just you know, just press play, and I thought this would be an interesting way to maybe keep some updates going, because I don't I haven't been really good about keeping a captain's log. So I guess I'll be doing this vlog before I forget everything. Like, you know, like the other day, even coming up the Delaware Bay, I tacked 17 times out of that, and then another 5 times because I got into a minefield of crab pots. And for the first time ever, I hit a crab pot. It was not pleasant, but thankfully it didn't get caught on my prop or anything. Yeah, those things can be, I guess, can be dangerous, you know. It was, yeah, it was a big thump. So I wish I wished Marbles was here so he could say hello too. Marby! Hey, baby. He likes to stay, let me see, right, oops, zoom in, right under the dinghy. So where the dinghy, you know, the seats, he'll go either on top of the hatch itself or he'll go on top of the seats. It's very messy. I don't care. It's okay. It's real life. See? First time I had to put the mesh here, just kind of draped it around my put like 2 clips here, another one. Oh, there he comes. Hi, baby. How's it going? We're gonna get moving soon. Yeah. I haven't even closed the hatch since we left the river because he really loves to hang out there. And it wasn't too wavy. You know, I wouldn't do this for the ocean, but... What is it, baby? You already got your treats today. Oh, you want to come down here? You're fine. Jump in. Hi, Mimi. Yeah, so what I do sometimes here is pull up the bed because, you know, it's just good to kind of reduce the moisture underneath. So I have a little string that I sewed it into the mattress cover, so I just pull it over there. And a lot of times during passages he likes to go under it and stay there. Right, baby? He's such a good trooper. He's been excellent. There was a time when we almost lost Marby, but that was the only one time because he wandered around a little bit, but then he got bullied into coming back on a boat. Like he was, you know, there was another cat that wouldn't let him come back on a boat, and it was a pretty crazy story. At one point I took a lot of footage too, had like search people with like searching dogs and things. Yeah, it's getting busy. So, and yeah, it's crazy. So he only stays out here when there's no people, so he's very afraid of that experience. He comes out at night when, you know, things are not busy. All right, I gotta check out the time and go. So good, Mimi. There's him eating his treat. It's breakfast of champions. And yeah, I'll chat with y'all later. This has been an interesting experience. Yeah, I've been usually sharing stuff live on Facebook. Just will to have flying fish lands on the deck. You think that then the cat will like, okay. You know, when you pull up the anchor, there are all these like tiny little shrimp or something. I don't know what they really are, but they're like on deck, and I thought he would find them like good little snacks because it's not like I can put them back on water. I don't know, maybe they stay inside the rope, and then when I pull it up, I don't know, they come out and they go all into the deck. But in any case, he hasn't found them interesting. I still see them all there. So, all right, cheers everyone, have a great day. I don't know when I'm doing this again. Maybe I'll try to do it once a week, but this is kind of too early, right? Isn't it better to... Oh, my shirt is backwards. Okay, cool. Bye. How do I end this? How do I end this? I have no idea, my friends. No idea. Uh-oh. Okay, we're just doing this forever now because I don't know how to end. I'm kidding. I'll stay here until I figure it out. Maybe the X button?